Good afternoon. We'll bring Committee of Adjustment to order. It's Committee of Adjustment for March 26th, 2025 on a snowy day at 3:30 p.m. Okay, I have some preamble before we get into it. Members of the public are invited to participate in this meeting of the Committee of Adjustment by attending the meeting in person at the Ilderton Community Center located at 13168 Ilderton Road, Ilderton, Ontario, N0M2A0 is the postal code. Members of the public may also access the meeting, which will be live streamed on our Middlesex Center YouTube channel or by contacting the municipal deputy clerk to receive a registration link to join the meeting electronically. Members of the public wishing to appear as a delegation can register for the meeting by visiting middlesexcenter.ca/participating council meetings or by contacting the municipal deputy clerk at 519-666-0190 by 4:30 on the Monday of the week of the scheduled meeting. All requests to delegate are subject to the provisions of the Middlesex Center Committee of Adjustment Procedure Bylaw. Members of the public can choose to delegate in person or by electronic participation. Accessible formats and communication supports are available upon request. So the next item on the agenda is, are there any agenda additions? Anybody? No, there are no additions. So now I'll declare disclosure of pecuniary interest, which is also conflict of interest. The Municipal Conflict of Interest Act requires any committee of adjustment members declaring a pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof, where the interest of a member of the committee of adjustment has not been disclosed by reason of the member's absence from the meeting, to disclose the interest at the first open meeting attended by the member of the Committee of Adjustment and otherwise comply with the act. Okay, just moving down the agenda. The first item is adoption of the minutes of the February 26th Committee of Adjustment. Can I get a mover and seconder? Councillor Arts, Councillor Cates, all in favor? Okay, that's carried and adopted. So now on to current applications, and there's some preamble here. Members of the public that wish to receive further notification on any of the applications being considered today, I ask that you please send an email to the deputy clerk at clerk@middlesexcenter.ca requesting further notification. Please be advised that comments expressed and written material presented are a matter of public record. If you have any questions on any of the applications being heard today, we ask that you direct those to the appropriate planner on file. Members of the public that have requested to speak will be given a maximum of 5 minutes to address council and provide comments on the applications. In keeping with our procedural bylaw, our R-zone policy, I would remind all of our meeting participants to use respectful language and uphold our values of cooperation, trust, and openness. So at this point, I'll describe our procedure for the day, and it's simply this. I will bring forward the application for minor variance or consent. I might do some preamble, and then I will turn to the planner who has written up the file and ask that person to present their file. Then I will turn to the applicant or their agent to either answer questions or provide further information. Then I will turn to anybody else in the audience who wishes to speak to the committee on that file. And then I will also turn to the internet in case anybody's out there. Then I'll turn to our Committee of Adjustment members and ask them, do they have any comments or questions pertaining to the file? And then we'll call a vote on that application. So item 5.1, the first file is number A5-2025. This is filed by the Pruder Family Farms, care of John and Charlene Pruder, for relief from the comprehensive zoning bylaw in order to allow a home occupation personal training gym to operate out of an existing detached accessory building, which is a pool hall and pool house rather, an outdoor pool. So I'll now turn to the planner on this file, who is Marian Francis Ramos Cabral, to present her report. Marian?
Thank you, Chair, and through you to the rest of the committee. So again, the purpose of this report is to provide the committee with the recommendation with regard to a minor variance for the for the property at 10560 Melrose Drive. Again, the applicant is requesting relief from the zoning bylaw as it relates to a home occupation within an agricultural area. Specifically, the applicant is requesting to permit a home occupation, in this case, a personal training gym, to operate out of an existing detached accessory building, which is the pool house on the property, and to also use the pool. And that the home occupation use no more than 32.5 square meters or 350 square feet of space within that pool house. The zoning bylaw currently permits home occupations only within the main dwelling and to be no larger than 40 square meters or 25% of the floor area of the house, whichever is lesser. So the effect of the proposal, again, is to allow the personal training gym to operate out of the existing pool house and to consume no more than 350 square feet of the pool house, as well as use of the pool. So this application is a result of a bylaw enforcement matter. Staff visited the property and viewed the home occupation, which currently, again, runs out of the pool house. We understand that the home occupation runs on a year-round basis, and during the summer months, it's outside and where they make use of the pool. The primary use of the space is for small group classes for up to about 8 clients or so and one-on-one training. The homeowner has identified that they are the main trainer on the site, but they do have an occasional off-site trainer come on the property. So this property is located on the north side of Melrose Drive and east of Coldstream Road. It's approximately 44 acres in area and has frontage of 204 meters on Melrose Drive. There are rural residences surrounding this property, as well as agricultural parcels and a significant woodland immediately located to the south. The property itself has the rural residence as well as a few sheds and outbuildings. A large portion of the northern half of this property is also regulated by the UTRCA and contains natural heritage features, including significant woodland. So notice of this application was circulated to area residents, agencies, as well as staff. Leading up to this public meeting, we have not received any comments from members of the public. Municipal staff reviewed the application and requested that a restriction on the type of home occupation be put on the property so that it does not permit a full or an exhaustive list of home occupations within that accessory building. UTRCA reviewed the application and they just identified that there are natural hazards on this property due to the water courses and unevaluated wetlands. However, they have no concerns with the minor variance application. So staff reviewed this application against the 4 tests of a minor variance, and generally we do consider this to be minor, specifically because the home occupation is limited to an existing space within the pool house and the use of the pool. This pool house is also a private amenity space for the homeowners and would have been used and built on the property regardless of the home occupation. Both the pool and the pool house are located to the rear of the dwelling and hidden from the front yard or from the street line, and it's completely hidden from neighboring property owners as well. The driveway and the parking area is quite significant in size, and clients that come onto the property will generally use the same area that the homeowners will use, and the increase in traffic is quite minimal. And aside from the use of the pool during the pool months, the home occupation would not contribute to noise or have any visible indications of its operation, such as outdoor storage. But more importantly, the home occupation does not appear to have any impacts on the agricultural use of the land or in the surrounding area, and it is directly ancillary to the residential use. So based on my planning opinion, I find that the variance is an appropriate use of the land and maintains the intent of the official plan as well as the zoning bylaw, since it is limited in scale and again, it is ancillary to the residential use of the land. So based on my review, I do propose 2 conditions for approval: that the home occupation use a maximum of 350 square feet of space within the pool house and have use of only the pool, and that no other home occupation aside from the personal training gym or any other commercial uses be permitted within that pool house unless permitted by the zoning bylaw. Thank you.
Thank you, Marion. Is the applicant or their agent here? Yes or no? Okay. Yes. Okay, do you want to come up to the table, please? Um, okay, she's just going to press the talk button. As soon as that's done, feel free to, you have a little presentation or? Okay, so that's fine. So you're gonna have to unpress the button there. Okay. And then I'm going to turn to, there's nobody else in the audience that wishes to speak to this file? No, I see no hands. So is there anybody on the internet? Okay, so nobody's on the internet. So at this time, I'll turn to committee members to comment or ask questions. Counselor Cates, go ahead.
Thank you. Through the chair. I just wanted to say that I've been here on a bunch of occasions, and it is a very, very beautiful setup, and I fully support this.
Anyone else? No, I think I was here. Did you do yoga at one time? Was there yoga there? Okay. Yeah, I got drawn into that for some reason. Okay. Thank you. So there's no other questions, Mr. Pruder. So I'll now call on committee members, a mover, seconder, Counselor Cates, Counselor Coles. Okay, let's call the vote. All in favor? Okay, that's carried. Thank you. It's approved, Mr. Pruder. Okay, we'll move on to the next consent application. It's in two parts. The first one is B22025. This is filed by Trey White on behalf of Ken and Jeff White Limited in order to sever a lot. And the frontage is on McEwen Drive. This is a surplus farm dwelling severance. And the next item up is B3-2025. While it says it's a consent application, it's a consent application to allow for servicing maintenance access for a geothermal heating system on the farm that they're severing away from. So at that, I'll turn it over to, I understand it's Dan Fitzgerald. Go ahead, Dan. Thank you.
Yeah, through the chair to members of the committee, thanks for having me here today. So the purpose of this consent application being B2/2025 as well as B3/2025 is to sever a surplus farm residence from the farm parcel that's located at 9554 McEwen, while also establishing an access easement for the existing geothermal heating system that's located on the proposed retained farm parcel. So the severed parcel is proposed to have a frontage of approximately 11 meters on McEwen in an area of 0.79 acres. The retained farmland maintain what we'd call a broken frontage of 587 meters on McEwen, as well as an area of 19.4 acres, or sorry, hectares. As noted, there is an existing geothermal system on the agricultural parcel in front of the house. So the applicant is proposing to maintain that service with the dwelling in the format of an easement. And the purpose really here is to restrict the size of that surplus dwelling severed parcel while also still allowing the geothermal system to heat the existing residence. So the subject lands does contain an existing single detached dwelling as well as accessory buildings, and it is actively farmed. It is serviced privately through a septic system as well as a well, and then the existence of the geothermal heating system. It is surrounded by agricultural lands and crop production as well as rural residences. And I would note that the western portion of the subject property is regulated by the Asable Bayfield Conservation Authority. So in review of the application against the provincial planning statement, as well as the county's official plan and Middlesex Center's official plan, staff find that the application can be supported. Additionally, we note that the easement that is requested through consent is necessary to reduce the size of the severed lands while also maintaining access to the future homeowner to the geothermal system. We did receive, or sorry, in circulation of the application, we did receive a couple of comments. They have been included in the report where necessary. I also note that we did receive a comment from a neighboring landowner who did express concern that they would potentially be able to build another residence on the property. So in response to that residence, we did note that as part of the surplus dwelling severance process and consent applications, the applicant would be required to apply for a zoning bylaw amendment, which would restrict any future development of a residence on the severed farm parcel. So with that, I believe their concerns were addressed, that no additional residence would be constructed on the lands. The proposed severance does meet all the other tests and policy of the official plan, as there is a farm consolidation that is occurring. The residence is at least 10 years old. It is considered habitable and it will maintain all services on site, except for the geothermal system, which is captured through an easement. So with that said, planning staff are recommending approval of the consent applications, subject to the conditions that are listed in the report. Thanks.
Thank you, Dan. Before I turn to the applicant or their agent, we try to keep these under 1 acre and this is at 0.79. You can confirm that. Okay, thank you. All right, at this point, I will turn to our audience, particularly the applicant or their agent. Are they here? Do you want to speak to this file? You don't have to if you're in agreement with what the planner presented. Okay, good. So if there's questions, maybe you could answer it, but thank you. Is there anybody on the internet? Nobody's on the internet. Okay, so now, pardon me. Oh, sorry. Did you wish to speak to this file? No? Could you come up to the table and press the button? Yeah, you. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay. So it's on. No, I was just gonna ask, so it seems like you can't build a second residence on that property the way you have it zoned out right now. Like,
Yeah, so through the chair, part of the policy test for these types of severances is that the agricultural lands have to be rezoned to not allow the future development of a single detached dwelling. So in this particular case, the agricultural lands will just remain agricultural lands and no residence would be constructed.
so that's of the agricultural portion of the severance. I know there's a lot of things going on right now with granny flat type things. So as the owner of the house, could they still build a residence on there possibly with an application to the county?
Yeah, so through the chair, as part of the provincial planning statement 2024 update, it did include policies in it that would essentially permit additional residential units within the agricultural areas where a single detached dwelling is a permitted use. That is subject to a number of criteria, which we are still working through both at the county and the local levels. So it very well could be possible that they could build another additional residential unit associated with the single detached residence, and that's permission that exists across all of our agricultural areas right now.
Okay, thank you. That's all I had.
So no one else in the audience wishes to speak to this file, then we'll move on to the internet. Anybody? Nobody's on the internet. Okay. So now I'll turn to our committee members. Any comments or questions, Councillor Hertz?
Through your chair, excuse me, to the applicant, I just want to make for sure that you realize that it's a 35, I think the frontage is 35 feet. So you're going to have to get a minor variance for that. It's just there's nothing stopping it from happening, but sometimes people forget that they need that last step and it takes another month and they're a little excited about that. And I've got no issues with the severance. I'm happy you've kept it under an acre. And the easement agreement, I hope you really think it through when you do it with the lawyer to make for sure that if a new house is built and that geothermal is not big enough, if they're allowed to put another line in there, or if they no longer use it. I don't know what kind of liquid is in it, but make for sure in the agreement that that liquid has to be all removed from the lines or just to protect yourselves. Like I said, I'm not against the easement agreement, but really think that one through. Thanks.
Okay, thanks, Council Arts. I'm going to go to our planner, Dan Fitzgerald. Did you want to comment on his comments?
Yeah, through the chair, just maybe just a point of clarification. So any type of like zoning provision that would not be met as part of that severance application, we would address that as part of the zoning bylaw amendment that's required as part of a condition. So in terms of this case, the common way that we do it is we would just include a site specific provision for that frontage reduction as part of that rezoning application that will subsequently come forward.
Thank you, Dan. I'll go back to the committee. Is there anybody else that have any comments or, okay, go ahead, Councilor Arts.
Apologize for getting that wrong, Dan.
Okay. Anyone else? No. Okay. So I'm going to call for motions. Mover, seconder. Okay. Councilor Coles, Councilor Cates, all in favor? Okay, that is. Okay, just moving on. I show no correspondence that I've seen. Is there any other business that anybody wishes to bring up? No other business. So now we're down to the end. Can I get a mover and seconder to adjourn the committee of adjustment? Mover, Councilor Coles, Councilor Cates, all in favor?